In 1991, the Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody recommended the Aboriginal Legal Service be notified every time an Aboriginal person is taken into custody. In 2000, this became the law in New South Wales. Since 2007, the federal government has funded the ALS Custody Notification Service. That funding has been withdrawn and the CNS will cease operating at the end of June unless further funding is guaranteed. The CNS is a telephone advice service operated by the ALS. Every Aboriginal person detained in a police station in New South Wales is given the opportunity to talk to a qualified lawyer. They are advised about their rights while in police custody and their legal situation.
Are you okay?
The lawyers also find out if the person is okay. The lawyer can talk to police on behalf of the person and can also contact family and friends.
A phones lawyer is usually the first port of call for someone who's been arrested, or should be the first port of call when somebody's arrested. You often find that you're dealing with people who have varying degrees of involvement with the criminal justice system, people who have long and lengthy criminal records, who are familiar with the justice system. You also come into contact with young people and younger people who have no contact with the criminal justice system. And it makes you rethink how frightening it is actually to be arrested and to be taken into a police cell.
We don't know what our legal rights and that are, and they help us out by advising us, on situations like that.
If you go to towns like Gadooga, Galagambaran, Burren Junction, Pilliga, those little areas, Willameringal, and people get locked up, they need that. Some of these people have never come in contact with police in their life, and they don't understand what the ramifications is of making statements, of what they say, how they say it, what they do. And the custody notification line is just an imperative thing that's got to be there for the Aboriginal people of this area.
The custody notification service has undoubtedly resulted in the delivery of a much better service, good advice and sound forensic decisions at the police station. There are less people in custody because of that service.
In 1988, I was employed by the Western Aboriginal Legal Service in Broken Hill. My field officer at that point, who worked with me and who'd been involved in the early setting up of the ALS in the 70s, was William Bates. He is a first cousin to the late Mark Quayle. Mark died in the cells in Wilcannia. We were never notified that he was there, and the first I heard about it was from a police prosecutor when I came to court the morning after that took place. And he said, "I think you're required in Wilcannia." If Mark Quayle had gone into custody with a custody notification system in place, somebody would have been told he was in the Wilcannia cells. Mark Quayle had not committed an offence. He presented at the Wilcannia hospital with his brother, suffering from delirium tremens as a result of alcohol withdrawal. He had the shakes. He was not physically in a very good place. His mental health was affected by that situation, and he needed medical assistance. The police were rung. They took him up and placed him by himself in a darkened cell in the Wilcannia police station. Nobody was told he was there. That is just a small example in an isolated place of the problem that occurs when people aren't notified about the existence of people in custody.
Well, that's our lifeline. If that's not there, who knows we're there? And our children. No one knows we're there.
I know when I was younger, when I was a young fella and that, I got picked up with at the police station, and at that time I didn't have a phone call that I could make, and they forced you into making statements, and they and then in the end you because you're there for that long, and you're frightened and you're scared, you don't know what's going to happen, just to get you out of there, thinking by giving in and telling them what they want, what you think you want, and it'll get you off the hook and out.
We used to having that landline for years, and then all of a sudden taken away from us. Well, where's it that leave us and the children?
I can see people convicting themselves when they haven't even done a crime. It used to happen prior to the custody notification line. I've seen it on numerous occasions where people talk to the police saying things that they trying to protect themselves really, and it backfires on them and they finish up getting charged with more serious charges.
And without legal representation, you fellas are going to fill those prisons up with a lot more Aboriginal people.
What I find particularly annoying is that some often thinks that, or some bureaucrat thinks that in some way money is going to be saved by abolishing that service. You only have to look at the cost of keeping a person in custody to understand that even if it keeps half a dozen people out of jail each year, it pays for itself.
It never ever failed. It didn't fail us. So, where did it fail? For it to be pulled.
There's no doubt that the call notification system provides a resource that enables situations like the Mark Quayle case not to take place in police stations.
Seriously consider not cutting the funding for this telephone service, because it is one of the only access our people have to get that fair legal representation. You fellas take that away, is going to further keep our people in the gutter.
It's not just a phone line, it's a lifeline.